When you think of ancient Rome, what's the first image that pops into your head? Yeah, for most of us, it's the Colosseum. It's not just some old pile of rocks. It's a symbol of incredible power, a true marvel of engineering that's fascinated us for, well, centuries. I mean, just look at it. For almost 2,000 years, this building has stood there, surviving earthquakes, fires, and even the complete collapse of the Roman Empire itself. It's an absolute icon. Millions of people flock to see it every single year. But here's the thing, and this is where our story gets really interesting. What if I told you that some of the most well-intentioned efforts to save this ancient wonder were actually the very thing that was destroying it, slowly, silently, from the inside out? Okay, so to unravel this modern mystery, we actually have to go way back. Back to the very beginning, to a Rome in chaos and a brand new emperor who had a massive political problem on his hands. So, picture this. After a huge fire guts the city, the deeply unpopular Emperor Nero decides to build himself this ridiculously over-the-top palace right on the ashes. The public was furious. So when Emperor Vespasian takes over, he needs to win them back, and fast. His solution? Pure political genius. He tore down Nero's private estate, drained the artificial lake, and right there he started building the largest amphitheater the world had ever seen. It was a gift to the people and a massive PR victory. And what a gift it was! We're talking about a structure that could hold at least 50,000 people. That's the size of a modern major league ballpark. But it wasn't just a stadium. It was a perfect model of Roman society. You had the emperor and senators down in the box seats, and then tier by tier, all the way up to the women and the poor in the nosebleeds. Everyone had their place.
But, building a giant stadium is one problem. The real engineering puzzle was how to deliver the insane, jaw-dropping spectacles the public demanded. They wanted more than just a fight. They expected magic. And the secret to that magic was a piece of high-tech genius called the Hypogeum. The name literally means underground, and that's exactly what it was, a complex two-story backstage area built right underneath the arena floor. This thing was a complete game changer. Just try to imagine being down there. It's a dark labyrinth of tunnels, the air thick with the smell of sweat and wild animals. There are cages with lions, bears, you name it. And through this incredible system of about 80 different elevators and trapdoors, all powered by slaves, gladiators and beasts could suddenly just burst onto the sand above. It was literally the special effects engine of the ancient world.
Of course, nothing lasts forever. Not even something as mighty as the Colosseum. As the Roman Empire began to fade, so did its greatest stage. And that's when it started facing the relentless problem of time.
By the 500s, the games were over. Then, boom, a couple of massive earthquakes brought huge chunks of the outer wall crashing down. For centuries after that, it was basically just abandoned. People treated it like a giant quarry, pulling stones from it to build other famous landmarks, including parts of St. Peter's Basilica. It wasn't until the 1800s that people finally started trying to prop the thing up to stop it from falling down completely. So let's fast forward to the 1970s. By this point, restorers were looking at a really serious situation. The ancient stone columns were just riddled with cracks, as you can see right here in this photo from that time. The old patchwork fixes weren't cutting it anymore. Something big, something modern had to be done. And this is where our detective story takes a major twist, because the permanent, high-tech cure that engineers brought in back in the late 70s, well, it would eventually become the cause of a brand new and much more dangerous problem. The plan they came up with was pretty aggressive. They drilled deep into that ancient stone and injected powerful epoxy resin to basically glue everything back together. They shoved steel reinforcing bars or rebars inside to act like a new spine, and even used huge steel cables to bolt the columns to the walls. This was supposed to be the final fix.
And you know what? For about 30 years, it looked like it worked. The Colosseum was stable. But then, in 2012, a new team of restorers was doing a survey, and they started noticing something odd. Something that just didn't add up.
A super detailed survey turned up a whole new pattern of damage. These weren't the old cracks they were expecting from the building leaning. No, these were different. These were vertical cracks, and they seemed to be starting from deep inside the stone itself. Now, this difference was everything. The old problem was simple. The whole wall was leaning out, putting pressure on the stone. But this new problem, it was showing up even in the strongest parts of the structure, the parts that weren't leaning at all. The old theory just couldn't explain what they were seeing.
And here it is, the smoking gun. The investigators carefully chipped away the 1970s repairs, and this is what they found. The steel bars they had put in weren't stainless steel. And over the decades, moisture had gotten in, causing them to rust. As steel rusts, it expands with incredible force, and it was literally splitting the 2,000-year-old stone apart from the inside.
So here's the science behind the failure. It all came down to a basic mismatch. The ancient travertine stone is porous. It kind of needs to breathe. But the modern epoxy they used sealed it up like plastic wrap, trapping moisture inside. That moisture then went to work on the steel, causing the rust and expansion that was destroying the monument. The cure had literally become the disease.
This whole episode at the Colosseum was a huge, shocking wake-up call for conservationists around the world. It taught everyone a very hard lesson and completely changed the way we approach saving our history.
So today, the whole philosophy is different. The number one rule is basically the same as for doctors. First, do no harm. Any repair you make should ideally be reversible. The materials have to be compatible with the old stuff, and you do as little as you possibly can. The 1970s repair job? Yeah, it broke pretty much all of these rules.
And you can really see that change in thinking right here. On the left, you see the scaffolding for the heavy, invasive work they did back in the 70s. On the right, that's the much lighter, more careful approach for the diagnostic survey in 2015. It shows a huge shift from just fixing something to actually understanding it first.
In the end, it really comes down to what the very researchers who uncovered this whole mess wrote. They said that preserving these monuments for the future isn't just a nice idea, it's a duty that we all have.
And that really leaves us with this big, nagging question. As our technology gets better and better, how do we make sure that our best efforts to save the past don't accidentally create the worst problems for the future? It's a puzzle we are all still trying to figure out.
Enjoyed this video? Please like, share it with a friend, and press the bell icon to never miss an update.